Hey guys,
Hey everybody, we're live and look who's here.
we are live. So excited to have Sasha. No, the other way.
Yep.
Sasha Graham here with us tonight. I just want to say a quick hello to everyone in chat. We have Angela, we have Patsy, we have Frank. Hey Frank, hope you're not too nervous. She's gone again, I swear to God.
I'm here.
We have Care Bear, we have Rain. I think I haven't missed anyone so far. So thanks a
I
million.
just wanted to bring the box so that we can show.
Wait.
Oh, wait, one side, you said side.
Wait, hold on. I think.
Wait, get your
Jinx.
Which side do you guys prefer? Do you prefer Raven?
I prefer Raven. I'm not big into vampires a lot too much.
Oh,
so when I
God, I love vampires.
I loved this.
I love vampires, but I love the Fool card. Like, I just love it. I just want to tell a quick story before we get started, right? So about 15 years ago, I joined a company and everyone involved was into spirituality and holistic therapies and all the rest of it, right? So I got hooked on angel cards and oracle cards and all the rest of it. And then this time, 6 years ago, I ordered a tarot deck online. I just fancied the pictures and I ordered them. And then I realized, oh, wait, it says 78 cards on the box. I don't know how these work. I have to learn how to use them. So you get things next day in other countries. We take about 2 weeks to get stuff, right? I don't know, are we on a different planet or what? But anyway, So I was waiting for the cards and I was reading Kyle Gray's Angel book, and he was telling a story of how someone came to him asking him for advice on his life, and he said, ask Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel for guidance. So I sat there in my car and I said, right, I've ordered this tarot deck. I need to learn how to use them. Thank you for guiding me towards someone. I'm not codding you. 5 minutes later, I met a friend of mine and she told me she was fully certified to teach and read tarot cards, and she was planning on doing a tarot workshop. So cool. She did say, she said, look, I'd highly recommend the Rider-Waite-Smith to learn. So I went away and ordered one of them. Could not get behind the imagery. I was like, no, it's too plain. And I know there's massive symbolism obviously in it, but I did not like it. So I kept buying other decks, but the other decks were doing nothing for me. Ones that weren't Rider-Waite-Smith imagery weren't doing nothing for me. And I ended up selling them on. About a year later, I was completely obsessed with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and that's all I wanted. This is the first deck that yes, it's based on obviously the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's, you know, so completely different imagery and with a theme obviously. But it's the first one that I've just been completely obsessed with, and it's like Heather had it first, and I was Heather had it. Yeah, Heather had it first.
Really?
You did, yeah. And I was feeling the FOMO. And I was watching tarot readers who use it all the time. And I was like, oh, shit, I have to get this, because I love anything to do with vampires and angels and demons and werewolves. I love it all. So I got it because you had it. Then Rain got it because I had it. So it just went mad. So I just chanced my arm then emailing Sasha, thinking, oh, she's way too busy. She won't answer me.
I suggested it too, and I said, just reach out to her. You never know. She may be very gracious and say, I'd be happy to.
And I emailed at the same time Mirko, the artist, and I thought, never going to hear from him. And he emailed me yesterday, Sasha, and he was all apologies. It had gone into a spam folder and he missed it. And he'd love to have been on. And I was like, oh, but he said he'll do it another time with us if we're all free. So I was like, yes.
And that would be awesome, because I'm an artist too. And so I have a degree. I was just like, oh, we got to get the artists on, because the tarot deck, you can't have an without, you know, the author to go with the deck. And it has to be a good match, because there's some decks that are out there that you're kind of like, you're looking at the art and you can not quite much of a connect. But with this deck and watching your videos, you two really connected on this deck. Yeah. So kudos to that. It was well done.
And I would love to come on here with him, because I haven't seen him since 2018. I think I was sharing with you, Jackie, when you said that Mirko had reached out yesterday.
Yeah.
So I designed the deck with him, never having met him, only ever, and this was like before Zoom. And well, I mean, I've never Zoomed with any of my tarot artists, but Lo Scarabeo brought me over to Reno, where they're based out of, for their, I think, 20th anniversary party. They had this like huge gala and all these classes. And as a surprise, they didn't tell me that Mirko was going to be there. So he's easy on the eyes too, let me tell you.
Oh, really? Well, those Italian men and the way he talked. I mean, it was just beautiful how you just caught his accent. So yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 25% Italian, so here now it's just like, oh my goodness, yes. But you know how I got a hold of Sasha's deck is there is another reader on YouTube. He goes by Aphrodite, and he reads on true crime. He does pop culture readings, and he was using the cards, and I'm like, wait a minute, those cards would be great for and I would see how he would relate them, and I have to get them. So that's what I did, especially when we got back into the true crime, because for me, I enjoy that more than the politics. For me, the true crime is helping people, helping give a victim a voice, helping maybe a family or friends or somebody that might come later on and say, you know what, this resonates. Yes, this did happen, or thanks, maybe we can use this. So for me, I enjoy doing that to be able to help others. So, and he uses your deck, and I said, well, I got to give it a try. And then Jackie saw, and so it's all been just blame me, Sasha.
And Hershey is mad to get it now as well. Like
yes, and Hershey, yes. So Hershey can't wait to get it.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yay, Tom gets to stay.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Isn't it interesting? I see so many people who struggled with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Me too. When I was like really learning it, when I went to the tarot school, because I wanted all the esoteric stuff, I was using the Halloween tarot because that's what I wanted to look at every day. I didn't want to look at the Rider-Waite-Smith.
To me, it was boring. Being an artist, I'm about color and this, and I mean, I'm an abstract artist, but still, in my decks, that other people, I want to see something that, you know, is something more than a couple colors and just something that's kind of scrawled, you know, onto a card. So for me, I have my certain taste in Lo Scarabeo. I don't know if you've ever seen this deck, Sasha. It's the Tarot de Louis. I mean, the artwork, and this is beautiful. It's, I think, the same people that do the Scarabeo, the Thelema, and the Arcana, and of course, Ciro Marchetti, you know, the top, I think, artist, you know, from Italy when it comes to tarot and oracle cards. But yeah, for me, I really need something that I can resonate with. And like Jackie said, I really couldn't resonate with the regular Rider-Waite, except for maybe, you know, for learning and, you know, kind of honing skills and whatnot. But I know during your videos, if people don't know, Sasha has, I believe it's a total of 5 videos where she goes through the major arcana first and explaining the concept, the idea behind the artwork, into the cups, the pentacles, the swords, and the wands. And she does a really nice in-depth. And can I just say really quick before I forget, when I first saw that Knight of Swords, and Jackie can back me up on it, the first thing I did is when I lifted it up and said, you know what, this is such The Crow, the movie. If anyone's never seen The Crow, Brandy,
I haven't seen it.
This is so that
it's good.
I mean, I'm not into like horror movies. I don't like gore and violence stuff, but for me, I mean, and with being so heartbreaking that he lost his life while making it, but still, when I saw that card, I'm like, oh, this is totally The Crow.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite cards.
Thank you. Yeah, it was important. I wanted, because the deck, like Lo Scarabeo had asked me to do a tarot deck. They were like, Sasha, you have to do a deck. And I was like, why? There's a million tarots out there. That doesn't make sense. I'm not an artist, but they explained to me like how it works, right? So I was looking for a theme. And I had been collecting 1960s and 70s Gothic novellas. And then I was like, oh, like this has to pay heed to all of those like classic horror like tropes. Even though obviously The Crow was that was 80s, but
that was 90s. It was it was like around 92 or 93. I was in college when that came out.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm 53
Remember
now,
the day.
yeah. So, but yeah, I was all about that movie, the soundtrack, the music, you
And
know.
it's a super great time for vampires too, because back then I was living in New York City. I was actually an actress. I was doing vampire plays.
Wow.
Like,
You're an
live
actress.
vampire
Okay.
plays. All, yeah, I
Cool.
was an actress, and then I was a B horror movie actress in the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And she says she's not an artist. Writers,
Well,
actors, people,
Yeah.
that's being an artist, you know.
a visual artist, you know, in order to make
Yeah.
a tarot deck, to draw a tarot deck.
Yeah.
I could do an abstract deck, maybe.
I just wish somebody, you know, Sasha, if you can talk to one of your deck creators and maybe get the copyrights, I would so love a Nancy Drew deck. Could you imagine a Nancy Drew tarot? Girl, I have all of my books, like I said, from the 20s, 50s, 60s, all up. I could just like lay out and say, oh, you need a high priestess, you know, here, this would be this one. You know, I just, yeah, I would love a Nancy Drew, Carolyn Keene based tarot deck. That would be awesome.
I agree. And by the way, I love that Rain's being like she's so lead character,
In
right?
my own mind.
Being the lead character, being the actress. One thing I will say that's interesting about things like licensing. So there's a lot, right? So it's Nancy Drew. For somebody to make the Nancy Drew tarot deck, they would probably have to pay, you know, God knows how much in order. A lot of times, and I'm not going to name names or name decks, but a lot of times a big publisher will get the licensing for a particular big name property, but then rush the deck through and be like, we just want this out next spring. So it might not have, it might not I think a Nancy Drew tarot deck done right.
Could you imagine? I mean, oh my God.
I want a Star Wars tarot done really right, or done in the way that I could imagine.
Yes. I mean, there's one already that's called Affirmations, and they're cool, but no, I mean, you know, Star Wars. You know, I mean, I grew up with the original three, so, you know, for me, I was, you know, I was bullied. I was like the lone kid. I was the out kid. So for me, reading Nancy Drew, that got me through. You know, I could go through a book a day back then. I don't even remember when we were having bookmobiles here in New York, because I'm in New York. I'm in Western New York.
Oh, you are? Me too. I live in New York City, but right now I'm up in the Catskills.
Oh, so I'm on one end, you're on the other. But yeah, in New York, I don't know if you remember, they would have these bookmobiles, and I would go every time that I was there. I'm like, okay, I haven't read this one. I drop off the other, go back, and within a day, I'll have one book read. I mean, I could just not get enough of Nancy Drew's Star Wars, Princess Leia. You know, she was strong, she was confident, she could, take good care of herself, and just they really deserve a really well planned, well thought out, and well crafted deck.
Hey, Ramon. Ramon's in the house.
I was going to ask Sasha something, but do you have something, Jackie? So I don't like.
I just have 3 quick questions that Rain had sent me that she was going to ask. Okay. So, how long, Rain was wondering, how long was the process from the idea being conceived to the deck being published?
I remember when the idea hit me, like it was like a tower moment, you know, like, oh, I wrote up the entire proposal in one day, which is often happens when I'm like, oh, an idea hits and I need to then create the proposal to give to the publisher. And Los Scarabeo is a little more lenient. Llewellyn needs a longer proposal, but I was able to do the Llewellyn proposal in one day. It took us probably 6 or 7 months to find the right artist. When you're looking for an artist with a publisher, we only look at one artist at a time and give them about 30 days to give us 3 samples of cards. I send the descriptions, and they'll send us three descriptions. I'll send 3 cards. They'll send back 3 images, sketches. Well, no, maybe it was, but the Fool, when he did the Fool.
So I pulled it out for you.
Yeah.
The second I saw it, I was like, oh my God. And I kind of had a hunch anyway, because I had seen his work, and he's just obviously like so talented. So then we got to work. I would say it probably took us about 3 years. I would say it took about 3 years. That's about right, because the Darkwood Tarot took 4 years, but it took 1 year for me to find Abigail. So yeah, so when it's author and artist, yeah, I would say it's usually about 3 years from beginning to finish.
And can I say this butler looks like Chris Christopherson?
Mm-hmm.
When I first saw that, I went, "Hey, Chris Christopherson!" Because sometimes I see, faces like with the Tarot de Nuit. They use faces in there that look like, it was Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode. There was another one in there that looked like Emma Bunton from the Spice Girls. It looked like art actors like Brad Pitt. You see the faces, and when I saw this, I was automatically like, "Oh wow, that looks like Chris Christopherson."
Yeah.
And then your King of Pentacles made me think of Jason Momoa.
Yes.
Like Jason Momoa sitting there on his throne, Yep.
I really like making tarot decks with some man meat stacked inside it. Let me tell you. Wait till you
doesn't like some man meat.
I'm working on a vampire tarot right now with Abigail Wilson, and
there you go, Sasha. I mean, not Sasha. Jackie.
We're next level. The things, and thank you so much. Thank you. Yay.
Thank you. Good to see you. Can I just say this gave me totally like Stevie Nicks vibes with the hat and everything.
Yeah,
I love that.
I got to see her in concert before I left Arizona, and the hat that they used was one of her old pictures where it was tilted just like that on her head. I'm like, oh, very Stevie Nicks. So just really quick, Sasha, I have your deck broken down in sequential order. So if there's any particular card that you would like me to present as we're talking, and really quick, we were doing a true crime reading for a woman that went missing in Jackie's town.
Yeah.
And literally, oh my God, literally we ended up pulling. See this? Honey, she was found in the floor. She was in the husband ended up
bones in a bag in the floor.
And this car came right up for it.
Oh, and chills.
That's what made me. That was the clincher. I was like, I have to get that deck.
And the only way that they found out that they suspected him, but they couldn't find any evidence, is that when his neighbors next door went to go improve their plumbing, and they brought plumber in, and they found pieces of her bones. Her skeleton has somehow gotten out of the bag and into the plumbing. And that's when they dug up and they found her in a renovated part of the house. But girl, your card nailed it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow.
So if anybody likes to do true crime readings, this deck.
Yeah. A must.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, yeah, and because there's that creepy cult, right? Or kidnapping and like getting ready, like the villains, right? They're the sleep no more. So, yeah, they're up to no good.
Love it. Just love it. You had answered another one of Rain's questions there. What was her process to find an artist? Where did she start? So you said that anyway. I know in the introductory video about how, like you said, you'd ask different artists to do 3 cards and kind of waiting for them to come back and whatnot. The last question which Rain had, right, which I absolutely think has to be true, right? Was Raven's look based on Sasha? Because I was like, it has to be Sasha.
Thank you for asking. I take that as such a compliment. I describe the character. So of course I was like a young brunette in like a long flowing dress. So I describe for the artists, I describe every detail like a scene from a movie. But I've never asked them to actually put me or me. But I think it's like, when we write stories, we tend to be our own protagonist. And so, so I think the artist probably working with me, but I think she's all of us, she's all of us. Definitely the little girl in the deck, the little girl is her younger self.
Her inner child.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love how you said in one of your videos to remember that you are the magic that you are looking for. Thank you. I tell that a lot during my readings and stuff with people. You got to remember, because sometimes we get a lot of the third party, like, does so and so love me? When will I?
Yeah.
And my first question to everybody and is just very kindly, do you love yourself? You know, and that made me think this card here, the water in her hand turns to pink. And for me, with the emotions, for me, that's a lot about self-love, self-compassion, you know, love for thyself before you can, and to feel those emotions fully within yourself before you can really, truly bring that right other person into your life. And that was just something I thought was interesting, that the water turned pink in her hands. And for me, that's very heart chakra, very, self-love.
And allowing yourself to be the container for love,
Yeah.
right? So the love, that energy, that flow isn't in a cup, it's in your hands to embody love.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's important. It's so important. It's everything. It's everything.
I was so, when I eventually got used to the Rider-Waite-Smith, I then became so obsessed with it that I just couldn't cope. My favorite card is the Death card, right? So I couldn't cope then with anything that wasn't Rider-Waite-Smith. I just went from one end to the other, But I mean, is that not the most gorgeous Death card? Like, I just love her.
So fierce. She's so fierce. I mean, don't you hope if a figure comes to collect us at the end of our life, we can sort of like fall into that vision of
I don't know. Her eyes are kind of black. I'm like, is there actual soul behind those eyes?
Oh no, she's awesome. Oh my god, I just love this Death card. I mean, there's so many other deaths that I passed on because I just couldn't cope with the Death card. But this, oh my god. And a quick funny story, right? See the big I don't know what you call it, scythe or sickle or whatever you want to call it. A few months back, an ambulance was called for my father. He'd been in the field at home and he'd passed out, and an ambulance came in, and one of the paramedics he had a big scythe in his hand. And the paramedics she was trying to coax him into the ambulance, and she was like, "We'll take that off you, will we?" Trying to climb in with the scythe that is still in his hand. Like, it was just so funny. So when I see that, I laugh thinking of my father.
And this card too, one of the best Hierophants, because Hierophants for me are cards that I do not like, because I was raised Catholic and I appreciate what I learned, and Mary being my goddess and found me through my spirituality. But every time seeing a pope or a priest being, I was always like, oh, enough with the patriarchal, really, for me. And when I saw this, I was like, excuse my language, how fucking brilliant was this? To kind of turn around and have her wake up to an exorcism, and then someone, trying to force upon them their, so for me, that was a great card that you two came up with.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I was excited. I was excited when that like idea hit me, especially because in the 60s and 70s, so much, I think, of the haunted house horror movies and books were about women finding their own agency. This idea that you are the mansion, that you are the house, that you're running away in the beginning, but by the end, when you faced all your fears, you have ownership over it. And so much, I think, of, in the 60s and the 70s, there was this insane male patriarchy, not that still doesn't exist, but and that kind of like othering or of the hysteria of women, and probably how many very innocent people have been mentally ill people have been terribly abused by literally exorcism or even historically the institution, any ruling institution. So I was excited about all of that. But then it still keeps the Rider-Waite-Smith kind of ideas, because in any traditional exorcism, the priest has the like younger person who's kind of like aiding him and learning. So that idea of teacher and student could still even work in the card in the haunted house, right? Because if you pulled back, you might see, his little assistant there as well.
And you know what? About a year and a half ago, I got this. I don't know if you can see it properly. It's a Benedictine medal. I got it from a nun, and she gave them to us as protection from evil. And I only found out about 6 months later from a tarot reader on Facebook, because he posted a picture of his own medal, and it's actually the medal that priests use in exorcisms.
Oh, cool.
I wear this all the time for
Wow.
protection, like because I got it from a nun, and it was blessed by a priest who was living in there at the time, and he died since. Like, but I just love this medal, and it's to protect against evil, and you know, I just thought it was cool.
And it's hanging right there. Oh, that's so cool.
I love that.
And another cool card out of the deck.
Yeah.
I don't like Ouija boards because personally,
Yeah.
our family, someone messed with one, and I grew up in a house that was haunted, Sasha. I was terrorized on a regular basis as a child by this thing in the house. So, and part of that was, you know, enhanced or whatever by someone messing with a board. But when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, how cool. I couldn't wait to get to this card to listen to how you explained it. But yeah, did you want to share? I mean, this is one of my favorites, even though I don't, it's really cool.
Yeah. So in designing the cards, first of all, a lot of times I would imagine if I was like in a house, in a haunted, if I was in my dream mansion, what, you know, how would the cards sort of come to life? How would you embody that? And in the Two of Wands, obviously, often you see the figure with the world in their hand. So it's always indicative of kind of looking into the future, or that, you know, and kind of plan. And so I don't know, it just struck me, oh, I can use the candles as the two wands, and she can be like Ouija boarding, you know, and then you've still got the ocean. So there's still that idea
in the ocean
out and across the ocean.
And very high priestess too.
Yeah.
Because she's got the columns between her, the moon card. So I like how both of those kind of also got interpreted into this card as well.
Yeah.
And she's got another question for you.
Rain just asked, does Sasha have her favorite card artwork?
Yep. And I can pull it out for you right here.
I'll tell you, I think the card that means the most to me, I don't know, it's like picking a favorite child. If you had like a lot,
same thing with my artwork. It's like,
I love the Three of Cups. I really love that card, because I think for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
And now we got a story for this for you too.
Yeah, I love everything about the way her dress is billowing up. I love the way it harkens back to the original Rider-Waite-Smith imagery in the back, but also that she's trapped underneath. I think that quite often cups tend to be very happy, on the happy side, because that's how Pamela Coleman Smith drew them. So the Rider-Waite-Smith clone decks tend to be very happy. So but I think that you have to look at all elements of the emotions when you're dealing with cups. So I was happy to go into the dark place with this. I know whenever I've been depressed, whenever I've wanted to be in a Three of Cups moment, I felt like I couldn't connect to emotion. It very much felt like being underwater in an odd way. So anytime an artist can take a really complex, tough issue or emotion and seduce you into a way that opens your heart, I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I think the Three of Cups is a great example of that. And I also think she's halfway there, right? So I also find it can be hard. It's a tough card, but it's also an uplifting card. Like she's making the effort to get there. And that's all we can ever do, you know, no matter where we are. So I would say I love the Three of Cups. And then I probably tied, I love the Judgment card. I love her rescuing herself. I love the zombie apocalypse. I love the Judgment card anyway, that everything is changing. So to me, that's her, like that final last moment where she's really collected all of who she is and is moving forward. And that's like a million deaths on that card. And then she steps into the mansion. So I love that one. You guys have favorites?
Well, Jackie, do you want to tell her about this, or do you want me to? Remember during one of our readings? So a couple of weeks ago, we read on this young lady. Her name is Toni Turner. She was a young woman, biracial woman that went missing about 2 years ago, and they found her belongings on a bridge, and going over, the Pitts. It was This is in Pittsburgh. Um, I can't remember which one it was, but it was the Homestead Bridge. And so, first of all, the scene was staged, but when we were asking, where was she? One of our fellow readers had joined us that day. That was a guest reader. Her name is Medium Betsy Palmer. She says, "I keep getting water, water," and she goes, "I still feel she's somewhere in that water." And when we were shuffling, because Betsy really doesn't use cards, she's more medium. We pulled this card out, both of us, and there she is under the water.
Yeah.
So again, your cards really help tell a story, especially, because
we've had some amazing ones.
Yeah. I
mean,
go ahead.
Did we do? Well, no, we didn't do it live. It's a friend of mine, her brother, who went missing back in the 80s. We weren't doing it live. We just did it ourselves and kind of emailed each other back and forth. But I asked, was he still alive? And I got the magician card. And like, when I zoomed in on his face and sent it to Heather, and I said, if that guy was alive, he would be such and such an age, and he would look quite similar to this magician. Do you know? I just thought it was uncanny. I was like, oh my God. And I said, like, back in the 80s and 90s, anyway, maybe even earlier, a lot of people from my mother always tells me she could be talking about someone local and she'll say, oh, they had another brother, but he was gay and he couldn't stay in Ireland. He moved to the UK back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. And I just had a feeling, that maybe this guy was gay and he just took off, And there was some other cards that kind of suggested that too. We had a couple of Knights of Swords or Knights. And then that magician card came up and I was like, it's uncanny, the likeness, and he'd be roughly the same age as this magician is depicted. And it was just incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
And last week we read on Susan Morphew, whose people suspect her husband is responsible for her missing. Yeah. And they just found her last year. And we were asking about him. And Jackie and I both now he was a hunter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what he did is that he would go and tranquilize deer and game, and then while they were tranquilized, would cut off their horns and their antlers. I mean, that kind of a creep. So when this card came up, we were like, "That's him."
Oh my gosh!
And we had hits like about I can't even remember which case it was, but we were saying, was it someone being lured into a car?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, that kind of stuff? Like, it's just incredible, the stuff. And even oh God, can you remember what we had the hermit card for? We said someone did it alone, but that someone saw what happened. There was a witness, and there's Raven in the back watching. Do you know, there was just so much. Like, it's just incredible every week, the stuff that comes up with the cards. Like, I don't know. And obviously the Hanged Man was just, hey Saskia.
So, Sasha, you had a question, I think, and we didn't mean to interrupt. Sometimes we get excited with your cards.
Well, no, I was going to ask if you guys have favorite cards. Like, if you have a favorite card from the deck.
God, most of them.
Goodness. Like I said, the Hanged Man. That is just an incredible card. And one of the things I love about this card too is that now I'm a big X-Files freak. So for me, the greatest TV show ever for me is the X-Files.
I love that.
There was a cover shoot that Jillian did a while back. It was for like the Swamp Thing or whatever, but it was like a similar post. So when I saw that, it kind of took me flashback to my, my 20s with the X-Files and the covers for Rolling Stone and these magazines. So for me, that's one of my favorites. And I also love the Ace of Wands. Now I'm going to share something, and of course we are in a mature audience and I will be careful with my language, but Aphrodite, when he does his readings about true crime and stuff, for him this represents a male, because he says to him the candle is representative of, he calls it his dick card. So if he's doing a reading, if someone when he pulls this up, he'll automatically let you know this was somebody, it was a male, this was not, so it's a beautiful card. I absolutely love the interpretation of this. When I look at it, though, I hear what he's saying, I'm like, okay, but really, he really promotes your cards, and he's a great reader. He's young, he's got his own channel.
Tell me. Thank you.
So, I don't communicate with him.
We're not friends with him yet.
He's got a really big following, but I would not have known about your deck if it wasn't for him. And so, I learned watching a couple of his videos on how to apply these to the true crime. One of the cool cards too, that the little voodoo doll, and Sherry, Voices from the Swamp. She lives in Louisiana. She's not far from New Orleans, and so I couldn't wait to say, look at the voodoo doll. So this was very interesting. And that story, you actually put the pill pennies on your.
That was amazing.
What was it? Take a picture. Yeah.
And when you know how like the power of suggestion and the power, when kind of how magic and symbolism, it was so terrible.
Yeah.
She's okay. Thank God.
Rain just said Rain was supposed to be on with us, but Rain said her favorite card is the star. And I know I pulled that in some reading we did as well, and I saw it as the girl, whoever it was, I can't remember which one, begging for mercy basically when she was taken by whoever, in some true crime case too. So it was just incredible as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Now you had gotten some flack for this. One of your videos, and this is not to, like bring a bad, but for me, when I get this, especially when we do the true crime, for me is, here's the house, it's dark, it's cold, this is what people think you're walking into, but and you're walking through that gate, and this is exactly, so it's kind of like it's showing the facade of what people think is going on. So for me, I think this works perfectly, putting in some of these cards, like the what was it, the Nine of Cups?
Nine of Cups.
With,
I like that one.
With that red underneath, not knowing what's underneath there, but him still, I really like the psychological play that you were able to invoke with the cards with this deck. Oh, and oh my God, yeah, one of our favorites.
Oh, I love it.
The only thing is, when we get these for the true crime readings, it's very much so, especially when it's, a female victim. So this one speaks volumes. But yeah, this is a really powerful card too.
Thank you.
I love the Nine of Wands, the fact that she's come through the maze already. And even though there's kind of barriers around her, she's still going and she's still getting the hell out of there. I love that.
Is there anything better? Is there anything better than a mansion with a maze in the back? Like, did you guys see Saltburn? The movie Saltburn?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
haven't heard of it.
Oh, it's wonderful. I think it's on Netflix. It came out in December. And there's a huge, huge castle that plays a major part in the film. And of course, there's a maze, and the maze, it's all, you guys should definitely watch Saltburn. There's so much great symbolism in the film.
Check it out. I love the court cards are just beautiful too. I love them.
Thank you.
And when I first saw this, I was thinking to myself, boy, that reminds me of the Lost Boys with the merry-go-round. And then I watched your video, and you said that the Lost Boys, especially that creepy music on the soundtrack with the
It's the best. It's the best. Is there anything better? Is there anything better than, oh God,
The Crow, Brandon Lee people? Remember? That's exactly what she said. She had in mind too, with Brandon Lee with The Crow. So I wanted to share that. And now this is something really interesting. You were thinking of Padme when you did this, you said.
When I
can kind of see that with the lips and everything. I'll just kind of get that close. So
I did not
see the face.
I did not specifically ask him to draw Padme, but that's really what it looks like. Obviously I think he drew the inspiration from that card, but
with the big hair pieces and stuff. Yeah. So that was cool. But for me, one of the coolest is the King of Swords with the chess.
Isn't he so gorgeous? Don't you just want to play chess with him for hours?
I don't know. He's kind of got pointy things out of his face. I know I might have to. Me, I'm more Pentacle, the Knight of Pentacles kind of, kind of gal. But
You want to wrap those wings around you and just bring you right into his pokey.
Sasha's letting us know a little, isn't she? Sure, tell us more. Insight.
I think it's important. Look, the more one of my favorite things, like questions, is like which court card do you want to sleep with, right? Who do you think would be like your best? Match, like who's your favorite king, who's your favorite knight, and or page, or
oh my god,
but queen. Like, I think that's it, because they're so often people in our lives, and like it's the best.
You know who would make a nice Knight of Pentacles or King of Pentacles? Hayden Christensen. I've always had a love for Hayden Christensen. Those eyes, man, those eyes, and people don't know who he is. He played Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
He's an incredible actor. People think that's just his body of work, but he is a very versatile actor. And just, when you see those, did you ever see that movie, Sasha or Jackie, when he was supposed to be put under for a heart surgery? I can't think of the name of it. I think it's called Awake or something. And the anesthesia, even though they thought he was asleep, he was still conscious and he could feel them cutting into him. Do you remember that one?
Oh.
What? You like this? But no, it was a really good movie. He had to have a heart transplant, and the people around him he thought he could trust, were not good. And they put him under, and, he's laying there. He's not moving or anything. And he's like, oh, that's awfully cold. When are they going to wait him? And then he feels the knife cut. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. No.
Talk about horror. That would be quite the card.
Terry says, I remember that movie, terrifying. I love the Eight of Pentacles. Oh my God. I love that you have, like, the Pentacles are witches, and the wands are, or which are which? The wands are
the wands are the demons, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. The demons and the cult.
Yeah, yeah. And the cups are the oh my God, I'm brain dead.
Yeah, these are amazing, the story that these tell, especially for our true crime. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are very powerful cards.
Interesting. Are there many cults? Is there much cult involvement in true crimes? Or is it huge?
Honey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Trafficking and everything. Yes.
Yeah.
And when I saw those cards, I automatically was just like, oh, eyes wide shut.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned that in your video. So that's coming across.
Good.
Rain said, the King of Wands intrigues me, but I think the King of Cups would likely seduce me.
They're angels. Let me find.
Angels. Jesus, that's the word. Oh my God, lads.
No, this was in order. Now it's
much later here in Ireland.
I know. Thank you for staying up so late. My bedtime's like 9 o'clock, so I appreciate that.
See, I'm usually asleep by 9:30, yeah. I love her. She's just absolutely gorgeous, like the Queen of Pentacles.
And Hershey also. Oh, sorry.
No, beautiful. I was just going to say. So that Queen of Pentacles was the second card. That it actually. Yeah. That was one. That was one of the It was that and the Fool, and I was like, yes.
Wow.
Just
I love her. Oh.
And
gorgeous.
Hershey always says now when she sees this card during our crime readings, sugar daddy.
Yeah, big time.
So if we're looking into crimes, somebody saying that someone had money, someone was looking for money, someone was looking for a sugar daddy, this would be, when we read on Mercedes Vega, that dancer that went missing, we were getting this card a lot, somebody with the money and with jealousy and stuff. So so whenever this comes up, all I hear is sugar daddy. I'm like, most decks you don't see the king with their legs wide open. This one here is very confident, very,
We have another question, Kat. Is there anything you would have done differently looking back? I don't have any criticisms, just curious.
Yeah, so there's a lot that happens between. So there's what I express, and then usually there's the back and forth between the artist and I. So an artist always gives you sketches first.
Yeah.
And then you ask for changes, and then you see the sketches again. And so everything's agreed upon before the final colorized version. Yeah, there's definitely things that I would have changed. But very happily, and this was my first tarot deck, so I learned a lot in the process of how to make them. Things that I wasn't particularly pleased with weren't the way I wanted them to be. Wound up being strong elements of the deck, so it's also the great thing about making tarot decks. It's truly a collaboration, and you're never going to get everything that you want, and it's important to know that, and that even when you don't get something that you want, that it still can work and it can still be valid. And that's been the case, obviously, with all of the decks that I've made. So yeah, there's a lot that I would have changed, and I'm also one of those people that, like, I could fix things forever. Like, I just want to keep working it. And at a certain, you have to let go. So the deck.
Drive yourself mad, like, yeah.
There was one card that I'm glad you clarified for me. I didn't know this was about her pricking her finger on a rose.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, why is she for me, I thought she was sitting there going, which one do I pick? What flower or what pentacle do I want to choose? I didn't know that she had got, and then when you said that, I looked down, I went, oh my God, like the one card, I thought she was holding the scissors in her hand. I got bad eyes.
Judgment.
You glasses.
World.
And it ended up being the key to the house. It was the world card. And Jackie's like, that's a key. Funny. And I'm like, oh my God. So now, yes, after watching your video, I went back, I took a look, and I went, oh yeah, okay, there's the little blood that's coming off her finger. So yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about the cards. You're just continually, no matter what deck you use, right? You're finding piece or meanings to it.
And here is Rain's Hunky Dory. That's her King of Cups. So that's her idea of her guy. And what I love is that you were using architecture too from where you live.
That's from the Frick, the interior of the Frick Museum. The card you had up before is from oh my God, the name is escaping me.
I can't remember either.
Oh my God, it's the huge Sam Simeon Castle in California. All my tarot decks are based in somewhere specific. You'll never see anything that, and like the Lover's card in this deck is from the Red Room at the Museum of Natural History, which is gorgeous. Yeah, so that's in Sam Simeon, which is this incredible castle built by William Randolph Hearst. It's his castle. There's these it's just like walking into the haunted tarot of the haunted house, and there's this massive ground swimming pool that is. So then I'll send the artists images of whatever specific room I'm referencing. The same way if you're writing a book, you're writing about something specific.
Yeah.
And this was a very clever card too.
I love that.
It was that good.
I don't like any of this. Oh, I'm sure. And we've actually, when we've done some true crime, we sometimes see this as if someone might have had something put into a drink or something as a sedate. So too, again, ways of being able to, and they come through for us.
Or remember when we pulled cards on Isaiah Bass? Wasn't that his name?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't read on him. We were reading on Dakota James
or something. But he had been called to Florida to talk to the company. Remember? And I said that was him sitting down with the company and they're offering him shut up or whatever, And he was saying, no, I'm not having any of it, And we pulled the 4 cups, so it was just perfect,
And people who like The Shining, there's that card for you.
I
didn't see the movie, but when the minute I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, that's The Shining. And I love
Rain. Yeah.
Oh, yay. Thank you. Oh my God. I had so much fun writing that book. I had set that. Thank you. I'm so glad that you love it because I love it too. I loved making it. And yay, tarot spreads are the best.
Now there was a question too from 999.
What? So he said, how much influence did you, Sasha, have in the art coloring of the 1909 deck, or was your influence all in writing the guidebook?
So that was a work for hire, which means Lo Scarabeo had already created the deck, And then they said, Sasha, would you, because I had written a complete, Llewellyn's Complete Guide to the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, they had asked if I would write all of the guidebooks for their 1909 issued decks. So yeah, so I had absolutely nothing to do with any of those decks, the color, the style, or any of it. I just wrote the guidebooks. That's much different than the decks like Witch's Garden and Darkwood Tarot and Vampire Tarot, and this one, which comes from inside my brain.
And boy, what a creative brain. Sometimes it made me scary. Could you imagine going for a walk inside Sasha's brain? We're like, ooh.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's usually, I'm on hormone replacement therapy now, so it's fabulous. And
oh my goodness. I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. Sometimes I say, oh my God, I can't breathe. Another cool card is the Strength card. And I had a hard time because when I first saw this, I was thinking of Live Long and Prosper. I thought that was something that she was doing, looking in her mirror, giving, because that's a very interesting way of her bending her fingers.
Yeah.
And then later on, I was seeing that as a very feminine symbol, very, vulvic in the shape, the downward point for the divine feminine. And I love too that the line is actually in the mirror frame. Mm-hmm. And I love that you turn the lemsket into a necklace.
It's such a fun puzzle to try and figure out how to get all of those essential elements into any card, because I want to keep as many of them as possible, but reinterpret it as like in the most original way possible. And thank you. I'm so glad that you like my witch's calendar stuff too, because those are fun to write. I think Brian had just said something about it. So yeah.
And yes, very Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
It's like, leaning over, looking over, trying to see what, so that's very, I'm saying, if we could get this guy to do a Nancy Drew, oh my God, that would just be fantastic. Amazing. And I do like this Two of Cups. It is a very beautiful, and it kind of reminds me of the last scene of the Twilight movie where Edward and Bella are dancing at the
prom.
At the prom. Mm-hmm. Except he's not an angel, but the opposite, but just that very, that kind of. Yes, I do like the Twilight movies. I'm not. You know what? Sorry, not sorry. I was there for the native boys. Sam, the wolves. Woo,
God. The werewolves. Yeah, I'm not into I can't handle horror, but like anything with angels and demons and werewolves and I love all that stuff. Ghosts, you name it, love it.
It's so fun. It's so good.
And here too.
Love that.
Rain wants to know if I'm planning on writing any more books. Yes. So I am working on the Vampire Tarot, which will have which will have a guidebook about the size of Darkwood Tarot, maybe a little bit smaller. But I am, and yes, I have tarot books that I'd like to write, but I've written a lot of tarot books at this point in my life. So I'm starting to focus on the stories that I put into my tarot decks and thinking about publishing those stories as separate standalone. So
very cool.
Haunted House as a novel. There's a really strong storyline running through my Vampire Tarot. So I'm writing a companion fictional book that'll go along with that. So yeah.
Vampire deck. Oh my God.
Yes, she just got a vampire deck and she's just in love with it. And I'm like, ooh, oh my, that's interesting. But she uses them for the true crime.
Yeah.
And they relate very well too. Yes, I think it's the psyche, the archetypes that exist within all of us. And
I just remembered. I'm sorry. I just remembered. I actually did just finish writing a book that's not out yet. I forgot. It's called The Artist's Guide to Tarot, and it's through and it's it's one of those big, beautiful books that shows young artists how to coming to life is exactly novels and then films. Exactly. 100%.
Very nice.
Rain knows me. Rain, I feel like you see me.
And if they ever turn the Tarot of the Haunted House into a movie, we know who could play the lead role. Right,
Yeah.
Sasha?
We do.
I aged out though. I think I could play. You know who I could play? I could play the scullery maid, or I could play like the evil, like
Trevor going, the what? There she is. Well, one of them. There's the maid. Oh,
Yeah.
which reminds me, in the video you mentioned, okay, so I think I know why she was consoling this maid. I'm going, look at the feathers. There's no angels. And then I looked and there's a dead bird on. I'm wondering if she wasn't crying because they had to strip and kill an animal to eat. Was that part of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, why is she? And I'm like looking at the feathers going, wait a minute, she's not an angel. And I'm following the feathers. I'm like, oh, the bird, maybe that's why she's crying. So we had to, kill the bird.
You could see them, but you couldn't see the key.
Yeah.
I'm never going to live that one down, and I'm trying
No,
to find
no.
it, but now it's all a mess. But yeah, I've got her cards now spread all over. Another cool is the Temperance card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one throws me for a loop though when I read, because
so?
Temperance, I'm used to one person balancing something, trying to find moderation and balance. So for me, when I'm looking at the two girls, it throws me off a little bit. But again, it really works well with the true crime moderation, watching what you drink, or who you're sharing your secrets to, or what.
And yeah. And temperance, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that temperance, as in like official temperance back in, the United States, back when it was like when alcohol was banned, whoever thought that was a good idea. But I don't know. Like I wanted like that, like the sexy bar. I don't know. So I put it in here.
Were there any other cards you wanted me to pull out for you, Sasha? This one was a powerful one too. The psychological feeling like you're being burned, people. And for one of us, one of the cases that we read on was Mercedes Vega, and they had literally, she was still alive when they put her in the back of a truck and set it on fire.
And set the truck on fire.
Set the car on fire. She was still alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is wrong with people?
They poured bleach down her throat. They had shot. So somebody was very jealous of her. That's where we got that, Mr. Money Pants right here being involved. And they still, to this day, they don't have anything out about who did it or any arrest. But yeah, they said she died of smoke inhalation. So thankfully, hopefully, she didn't feel that. But that card between one of us, I think, came up for her reading.
You did, yeah.
So this is why I'm constantly, whenever I teach or I'm making shadow decks, because like precisely for like what you just described, somebody pouring bleach down someone's throat, stuffing them in a car, setting them on fire, like harm, like that. All of those, especially to women, especially, I mean to anyone, but especially to women and children, it is unconscionable. And it's shadow work. It's a you problem. It's not an them problem. Do you know? And
another one of her decks too. The little voyeurism, a little bit going on there. I like that one too.
Yeah. And again, there's like the shadow of the jealousy, right? That when you see someone else doing, or wishing, or hoping, or wanting something.
I think Jackie got this when we were reading on Mercedes, that there was a jealousy factor, because if you go and look up her picture, Mercedes was gorgeous. She was a dancer. She was going to go to school to be a fitness trainer. She made her own money. She took her own trips. She was, she taught also. So just, jealousy I think is one of the worst, money and jealousy.
Yeah.
Look what Rain said.
I could play that Blondie in the.
Do you imagine? Oh, I need to like do this love scene with this hottie.
And I'm just going
through.
God.
Miss Moonlight is here. Hey, Miss Moonlight.
And I love how you talked about, and I never thought of this. So when we do readings, someone holding a torch for somebody,
Oh
that has
yeah.
never occurred to me until I watched your
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
So if anybody does regular tarot readings, when you get the Knight of Wands, think of too, especially if you're doing a reading with relationships or something, someone holding a torch.
Yeah.
Or even for yourself as well.
Yeah.
Or like if it was missing child, whenever I get the Four of Cups, I'd often see it as, you know, someone luring a child away with sweets or with a, you know, sugary drink or, you know, that kind of thing. I'm like more and more now over the last year in particular, I'm kind of seeing more and more different ways you can look at the cards in relation to different areas of life and stuff like that, you know, because you'd always just see and initially you always see the Four of Cups as boredom and not seeing what's been offered to you and all this. But then when we started our true crime, I was like, oh my God, it's someone trying to be lured away with something, you know.
Yes.
It's just, I love it.
And I love this Empress. I love the
She's
40s
gorgeous.
and 50s glam to
Yeah.
her.
Isn't she?
It's a little hard to see, but the curl, the wave in the hair, and I didn't think of it until I, like, everybody watch her videos. If you get this deck,
Yeah.
or even if you
Michelle,
don't get this deck and you want to understand this
Michelle
here,
just said that too.
usually the Empress is usually shown, you know, with a big belly for fertility and birth and something. Here she already is pregnant, but she's holding her stomach. She can feel it. And I didn't put two and two together until I watched your video. So what is this in her hand then, Sasha? For me, it feels like this is her personal power, because where she's holding her stomach is also your solar plexus chakra, which is your place of power. So was that conscious or?
100%. I mean, it's her creativity. It's the Empress creativity, and then, you know, the pregnancy is a result, is the physical world manifestation of that desire within all of us to create. So yeah, if you could hold that, and so it almost ties her to the pages, because all the pages are holding their element in their hand. You know,
like this one. I love this page.
That is gorgeous. Yeah.
And with the owls. So yeah, that's one of my favorite pages. Yes.
You know, it's the first deck where there isn't one card I don't like, do you know?
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah, like you'd always find it. I mean, every deck I've ever had, I'm like, oh, this would be perfect if this card was better or whatever, you know. But I just love every card in this.
And this is the King of Wands.
Yes.
Does anybody want to know the kings? So
it is a cool image. It is.
Did he bite her? Did she want him to bite? You know, so you could play that
scenario.
And Sasha, what's really cool too is that writing poetry and stuff. I started a segment on my channel called Tarot and Poetry, and we write poetry. We share poems, and we also write poetry. You know, to tarot cards that we pull, are oracle cards. And this deck is just full of so many poems and prose. So I can't wait to start creating some poetry and even stories, because they can tell a story much easier, because there's like more of a human element to it. It's not kind of like the major and minor being kind of like straight on archetype. It's where you're actually putting that energy, those archetypes, into an actual, like you said with the pentacles, tangible, you know, visual into a storyline. You're bringing, you know, what's out there into the physical and creating that storyline. And that's what I really love about this deck, is that, you know, you were able to create a story with it.
Thank you. Thank you. And to answer that question that somebody put up, the name of my next tarot deck is the Vampire Tarot. And my artist is Abigail Larson, who I did the Darkwood Tarot with. And if you look on my Instagram, we've shared on Halloween, we shared the first one image from the deck, which was the Lover's card. So you can get a sneak peek at the art. But it's
on your Instagram.
On my Instagram.
Watch, have a look.
Sasha Tarot Diva.
Cool. Very nice. And just another.
Yeah, I tag you in all my posts that I use this deck with.
Isn't that great? I just saw an image like that. Oh, what, you know, it's so classic to so many films about, you know, haunted houses. To go, I just always want to be running around in a nightgown with some candles. Like, don't we all?
Yeah. I know I had a past life in the Victorian era, so anything that looks Victorian or old with the candelabras. Yeah.
I have this like I love natural light. So when I'm up in the country, I have a farmhouse upstate, and I will not turn on I love to watch night fall without putting on any electric light. Oh, thank you, Care Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, so I am often walking through my house in my nightgown with candles. Do you know? Oh, Miss like Vampire Tarot. It's an exciting thing.
God, I can't wait either.
It's good.
That'd be great just to hire a photographer to come in and do shots like that for you, and do a spread. That would be very cool. Yeah.
What, walking through the house with a candle?
Yeah.
My husband's a photographer. I could ask him.
There you go. Okay. we'll just stop it right there too, because then we can go. Yeah. That could be
Care Bear said I'm going to watch y'all's true crimes episodes for sure. I want to learn to apply to my own spreads. Thank you. Yeah, we do that every Wednesday night, a couple of hours early. Or what do we do? It's 5 p.m., isn't it? We're sticking with Heather.
Yeah, it's 12. It's 12 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
Because sometimes we'll have medium Betsy Palmer. She's 5 hours behind in Hawaii.
Yeah, and I'm 5 hours ahead.
5 hours ahead. So we make it so that's 12 p.m. right in the middle. So whether
10 hours difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Sasha, if you ever want to join us on a crime, if you know of one that you would want to read on, whether new or an old one for the century, doors always open and welcome. If you'd like to join us for a true crime, we would love to have you.
So much. True crime scares me. I like fictional.
A lot of people say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone who joins us now, right? The first night she was very nervous. She didn't want to say anything, but
Allison, because we weren't sure. Can I say this?
The fact is, like,
yes, you can.
But there's so much. There's so much online. There's a lot of true crime readers, like, and it's just, I think
Kim Abundant Tarot.
Yes.
Tarot.
Yeah.
So
we must get her to join.
Nice. Oops, sorry, sweetheart.
You're hurt.
I'm just saying yours. Yeah. I use several different decks. I have like one that's a true crime deck. Then I'll use one called Heaven and Earth. Is a very somber color I'll use. And then for another, I don't say interpretation, but another point of view or different angle, I'll grab yours. So I have at least 3 or 4, depending on what we're reading on. And most of the time, anytime I pick up yours, it'll give me something that's similar to Jackie or what I had in one of my other decks. So,
I think it's so exciting about sleuths, like people who are actually solving mysteries. Is there a name for the people who are like armchair detectiving and actually solve crimes?
Yeah, there's a lot of channels on. There's Grizzly. She goes by Grizzly something. She covers them. I mean, some of these people go online, they find the court documents, they present it. I mean, it's just really there's the murder sheet. They're the ones that cover Delphi, what happened to Abby and Libby. That's actually 7 years, this afternoon that the girls' lives were taken.
Yeah.
It's been 7 years today. And so people will, do their podcasts and their research. They will open forums. That's why we told Allison, we say, for entertainment and educational purposes only, because we all let people know that, what we're just looking at cards. This is, it's not fact, but this is how people, law enforcement, other people, is speculation. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, though sometimes lately in this country of ours, that doesn't quite seem to be the case. But making sure that, as long as you put that disclaimer out there, this is just us taking different looks at a case using cards, like investigation, detectives using forensics and everything. So, yeah.
Rain said amateur detectives.
What did Rain say? Amateur detectives. Some of them are really, really good, though. I mean, if I were younger again and I was into this, I probably would go back to school for forensics or something. I'm that fascinated, to be a forensic detective or something and study forensics. Yeah. It's very fascinating to me.
Yes, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Care Bear.
So, do we have any more questions, lads? That's been a fantastic live. Thanks a million, Sasha. Really enjoyed it. Everyone in chat is all saying how much they enjoyed it. And Rain has put
we're
up.
so honored.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rain has put up a few times the links to the videos, the guidebook videos, which are a fantastic idea. I have to say, I really like them as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I was always sorry that I wasn't able to write a complete guidebook for this deck. So yeah. So next best thing.
Well, you just it's you just play it, pause it, write it, go back. I mean, it's an amazing an asset, if you're reading the cards. For me, I like to have cards for a while and get used to them before I go and read the book or do the interpretation, just so that I have like a personal connection with the image. But after watching the videos to prepare for today, it was just like, wow, I have a more in-depth knowledge now. So if anybody has these cards or plan on getting them, definitely separate them. Watch each video at a time, and you just get so much insight. And I love to, really quick, Sasha, how you said books are totems.
Totally. Aren't they?
We look at your book collection and you see, like for me, my Nancy Drews, my art books, things that, and there's another author, C.E. Murphy. She does incredible paranormal kind of like writing. She's fantastic. She's sci-fi. And so when you say our books are our totems, I totally get that. It is very cool.
Yeah.
I'm just looking over my notes one more time. So I'm like, oh no, I don't want to forget to mention
something.
They are, but they are. They're just and they also, and every book, every deck, they contain once you read a book cover to cover, they've, and we rarely read a book in one sitting unless it's a small thing. A piece of us is, oh, wait, I'm just reading this because Patrick's a friend of mine. Yeah, you did get his name. You did spell his name right. Oh, maybe I should do an extra book. All right. Perhaps. I don't know. I would probably have to get permission from Los Scarabeo to do that. Thank you.
And I love how you said the Nine of Pentacles can do with ancestry. Because of the molecules. And then later on, I was looking at another one and I wrote it and I can't find it now. Oh, 10. 10 of Pentacles. Gateway between through the physical to move into the spiritual, because of it being the house. And with I was thinking that could be also an ancestry, because there's the house, there's the family, there's an ancestry. So another thing now that I can add when we're doing the tree crimes, Nine of Pentacles. Oh, let's look. Molecules, ancestry, lineage. So more, knowledge and more insight that can be put into the cards.
Yeah. Cool. I love it.
Me too.
Thank you.
So will we wrap it up?
Yes. And we know, Sasha, you must be very busy. We've been on for about an hour and 10 minutes.
Just over an hour.
But is there anything else that, Sasha, you want to share?
Oh, you know what? Probably I should. Okay, I'm really terrible at. Thank you. If anybody happens to be in New York City, I'm teaching 3 tarot workshops in the next 3 Sundays on the West Side at a brand new store called My Little Magic Shop. I was just asked this weekend to step in and fill in for someone at WitchCon. So no, that's not this week. No, maybe it is this weekend. Whenever, I think the 17th. No, maybe that. No, it's this weekend. I think I'm fun. I'm
busy.
I'm
amazing.
I'll be teaching a shadow workshop for the Theosophical Society. That is on my website, sashagraham.com. That's online, so anyone can take it anywhere in the world. You'll get recordings, and it's a really reasonable price. I think $35 for members, $40 for non-members. So that's going to be a nice, delicious shadow workshop with the tarot.
Cool.
And that's this weekend?
That's going to be I think in April.
Oh, April. Okay.
Time to register. But I also just launched a podcast called Ghost Stories by the Fire. So if you're interested in conversations and spooky stuff, each episode's 40 minutes to 50 minutes long, and it's fun conversations, spiritual, curious. It's not about solving the mysteries. It's about exploring them. So
cool.
And that makes me think, you know, your forest sores where you have those claws coming over from underneath the bed.
Yes.
That's what the thing used to do to me. I could feel claws. It would grab the back of my neck.
Jesus.
And it would also grab my feet. So when I saw that, it was just like, boom, I was that kid again. But yeah, this thing would just, and I would like, just lay really still, make them think I didn't know what it was there, or what it was doing, because I didn't want to show any fear. I would just like really still, and this thing would just stick it right. Yeah.
Oh, Heather, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
So seeing that card, I was like, yep, I get it. Sometimes even as an adult, if I hang my feet over the bed, sometimes I'll go in between. I'll have a little bit of like a flashback, and I'll pull my feet in. I'm like, okay, you're an adult now. That's not here in the sprawl again, you know. But
there's a great short story called Ankle Snatcher by Grady Hendrix that's up on Amazon Shorts. I think it's free if you're a Prime member, and it's a short story about the ankle snatcher.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, just grabbing your foot at your ankle. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm suitably scared right now.
That's why when people say, "Oh, there's no such things as ghosts and spirits," oh yes, there is.
Yeah.
I saw my aunt after she passed away 2 weeks later, and I had this thing on a regular basis. So yeah,
wow.
they're real. You know,
the invisible world is vast and vibrating and chock full. There's so much more than the eye and then our senses can detect around us.
And when I had to move back into that house when I was later on in my mid or late 20s after my dad passed away, I was already I had studied Wicca, witchcraft. I knew how to do, and I walked into that house. I said, "You listen to me, you watching my language." I said, "You are not going to touch me. You're not going to touch my mother. You're not going to touch my animals. You're going to stay away. I know how to take care of you."
Good.
And so by standing in your power, really,
and
the whole time that I lived there for at least another year, not once.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of remarkable that 9 times out of 10, when something's there and you just confront it like you would a stranger on the street, you say, "Please leave, get out right now."
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
I mean, my mom lost the house to foreclosure after I moved to Arizona, but from what I understand, that house keeps passing through renters and stuff. A lot of people tell me that my neighbors, last time I was there, people don't stay in there for more than like 6 months or so, or to a year.
Wow.
They're in and they're out. So I don't know if it's still in there or not.
Sounds like
I've knocked a couple of times on the door passing through and no one's ever answered. So who knows?
Ooh. What if somebody answered, brought you in, gave you tea, and was whatever you had an experience, and then left, and then found out nobody lived in the house?
That would be creepy. That would be a great story. That
would be cool.
Yeah, I've actually heard that story before. I can't remember where, but yeah, that would be. Oh, well, there you go.
Trope. That's a good, Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on. We hope you'll come back sometime and join us, because I'd love to get Mirko on as well.
Yeah, I would love that. If you could arrange that, I would be here as fast as you could say haunted house, Tarot of the Haunted House.
Good.
Great. And if you ever wanted to feature one of your other decks too, let us know. We would be happy to host you and share your other decks as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys, thank you. This has been so amazing.
Oh, thank you, Sasha, so much for joining Jackie and I. I mean, she's just been glowing all week. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited." She goes, she's coming. So
last night, my husband came into the room and I said, "Guess who I just texted?"
He's like, "She gave me her text."
Yeah, whatever.
Well, now we're WhatsApp friends, so we can text whenever.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Yay.
Alrighty, so thank you, everybody.
Yes. You're the best for joining, and thanks for all the questions and the chats and whatnot.
And thank you for making help create such a great deck, Sasha. Look forward to more of them. Yeah.
Can't wait for the vampire one. Oh my God.
Yeah,
thank you
for vampire
life. Thank you for aerating it. Thank you.
God,
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Love it.
All right.
Right. Thanks, everyone. You're the best.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.